welcome back to lowcarbrecipe.ideas.com. Today we're going to make a low-carb ginger snap cookie. I love ginger snaps, and I just found this recipe with Diana Coulian, and I think it's delicious. I'm going to change it up a little bit from what she has in her recipe, but it still turns out absolutely delicious. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make it. So I've got my Ninja food processor out, and one thing that they were asking for was to have 2 cups of pecans grounded up. Now with this recipe I took the pecans and I put them in a skillet, I heated them till they were golden, and then I threw them in the food processor and I ground them up. So I have 2 cups of pecans. And then we're going to add a 1/4 cup of coconut flour. And we're going to use the food processor for this whole blending part. And then a 1/2 cup of blanched almond flour. And then 1/2 cup of arrowroot starch. Now, I looked it up just so that I understood. Arrowroot starch, flour, powder, it's all the same thing, and it's basically a thickener. So that's what we're using in this recipe. And then we are going to add 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And a 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 tablespoon of ground ginger, not fresh ginger, the powdered ginger. And then I've got a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cardamom. I do not have that, so what I've done is I've taken a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and that's the substitution I'm using, because I wasn't going to go out and buy that spice because I don't use it that often, and I found that there was a substitution, so I thought that would do the trick. And then I've got a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, a 1/3 cup of coconut oil. And I usually buy mine at Costco because I find it's the best price. And it is organic. I'll show you in a sec here once I get this cleaned out. There we go. This is the coconut oil that I usually purchase. And it's very good and very reasonable there. And then we're going to add a 1/4 cup of, a 1/4 cup of coconut cream. And I'll show you the product, the brand name that I used for that. And there's your pure cream coconut, and it comes in a little bag inside with the soft cream. It is quite nice. And then we are going to add in 3/4 cup of erythritol. Now, Diana uses palm sugar, which is awesome, but I was just trying to keep the carb count down a little more than what she had, because if we put the palm sugar in the recipe, then it was going to be 9 carbs per cookie, which still is very reasonable, but I just wanted to cut it down a little more, so I use the erythritol instead. And then we are going to put in 6 tablespoons of molasses. Nice and gooey. Try and get it out of the bowl here. There we go. and the molasses that I use is Wholesome Organic. I just bought it at the superstore. It's a very nice product also. And it's nice that it's organic. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put in 1 egg. So we're going to put our lid on the food processor. And we'll start out by just pulsing it to get it started. There we go. So we're just going to take the lid off and just take our spatula, scrape down the sides a little bit here. Some of my coconut cream and the oil is sort of sticking on the sides, and I like to get it blended very well. And you can do it in just a bowl and your hand mixer if you'd like. It'll do just as nice of a job. Might be even easier to clean this food processor, but I was just kind of following her recipe. So we're going to turn it on one more time. And I'll blend it some more. There we go. I think we've got it blended nicely. So, I'm going to remove the Ninja, and I've got a piece of saran. Hopefully I've got it big enough. And we're going to take and put the batter in a ball, wrap it with the saran, and we're going to put it in the freezer for approximately 20 minutes. Well, that cleaned up quite nicely, didn't it? So we're going to wrap this up. I kind of form the ball with my hands while I'm wrapping it up in the plastic. There we go. And we're just going to put it in the freezer and let it harden up somewhat. So I just took it out of the freezer after 20 minutes. I have baking sheets with parchment paper on them. And the reason we put them in the freezer is because it was quite soft when I first made them. So now we're going to take and roll them. About an inch ball. And I'll continue doing this. And then when I've got them all done, then we're going to roll them in some erythritol or palm sugar. And I'll just continue. So I've got them all rolled out. They are quite greasy with all the coconut oil. And I'm just going to take them and roll them in erythritol, which you could use the palm sugar if you'd like. And one thing I didn't mention was I powdered the erythritol when I did put it into the mixture, whereas this one I'm not powdering. I like the more crystallized to be on the cookies itself. So I will continue doing that to each cookie, and then we'll put them in the oven at 350 from 8 to 12 minutes. Now I followed her instructions. I didn't press the cookies down. She did recommend me keeping them 3 inches apart, but they did spread out somewhat, but they're still quite a big ball in the center. So the next batch I'm going to do is I'm going to press them down and see what happens. So here are my low-carb ginger snap cookies. Now I got the recipe from Diana Coulion. She also has a recipe book. It's called Family Friendly Fat Burning Meals, which I have on my site, which she has amazing meals and recipes. Everything that she does is healthy. Now I did change her recipe up just a little bit. I used erythritol instead of the palm sugar, but it's delicious either way. And on the last batch I used a fork and I did press it down, where in her instructions she said don't press them down. I thought they turned out better. Now I get quite a height with the one that she that I didn't press it down, whereas the ones I did kind of look like ginger snaps, but they still don't look like the picture she has, but they are really, really good. Thoroughly enjoy it. And it's healthy. That's the most important part. It's very, very healthy. So if you'd like to go to lowcarbrecipe.ideas.com, try this recipe and try some of my other recipes. You take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.